Welcome everyone. Today I'm going to depict the story of William Tell and how he shot an apple off of his son's head using a high-powered device that shoots an arrow at extremely high velocities in order to kill game more effectively, like deer or moose. This device is more commonly known as a crossbow. So anyway, many years ago there was a boy named, I'm not sure about his name, and he's not the main subject of our story, although he does play a very important role in the story. The story is really about a man named William Tell and one of his most famous adventures. So one day, William Tell was sitting in his living room tanning a hide of a deer he had just shot out in the fields, when he got a knock on his door. He went and answered the knock. "Morning, gentlemen. What brings you up here?" "We have come to take you to the town governor for trial," they said in a very high-up voice. "Well, I suppose I shouldn't keep him waiting too long, since his patience is running so thin these days," he said, and went to get his jacket. He went to the governor and asked what was up. The governor replied, "My patience is wearing thin with you, William. I have just found out that you shot Henry, the deer that has been freely roaming our fields for the past couple of days. How dare you?" "Well, I didn't know he had a name," replied William. "We are putting you in prison for that," shouted the governor. "Wait, I would rather shoot an apple off my son's head than go to prison for shooting a deer named Henry," William challenged. "Well then, I guess we'll meet you at the park tomorrow," the governor agreed. The next morning, the governor came to the park and saw William's son standing in front of a tree with an apple on his head and an arrow piercing the apple. The governor asked the boy, "Where is your father and what on earth is going on here?" The boy replied, "Oh, he's up there," pointing to one of the mountain tops way above the valley. "We were just getting in some practice before the challenge today." And with that, he replaced the apple on his head and threw the apple with the arrow in it onto a pile of some 10 others on the ground there. The governor looked at the pile in shock. And the boy noticed this and said, "Well, what can I say? We got a late start." Just then, William shouted down, "Ready?" The boy said yes and stood stock still against a tree, and the governor and his men were tense with anticipation as to whether William was going to miss this shot or not. Then there was a loud ping and a long whistle of air that intensified as the arrow neared the tree. Then snap, and there was the arrow in the tree just above the boy's head, and 2 slices of apple fell smoothly down to the ground. A couple seconds later, there was another ping and a long whistle, and then smack in the tree a few feet above them, and a crow with an arrow in its head fell to the ground. Just then, William shouted down, "Take that, governor! Crow and an apple for dinner for you tonight." After that, the governor quickly packed his stuff and left town, and the people elected William to be their next governor. William and his son lived happily ever after, I think. My information might be a little wrong, but I think they might have. Well, anyway, that is the story of William Tell. Thanks for listening.